Tonight, how safe are you when you fly? FAA inspectors say they're intimidated and pressured from doing their job.
FAA needs to clean house from top to bottom.
I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, a crisis of confidence. A new poll finds the number of Americans who think the country is heading in the wrong direction is the highest in more than 2 decades. And the economy may be to blame. This surgeon says an operation performed on hundreds of thousands of women every year is being done the wrong way.
We're opening them up unnecessarily.
And dressing for recession. In this economic slowdown, frugal is fashionable.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. Federal aviation officials say it's never been safer to fly, but today several FAA inspectors accused their own agency of putting passengers at risk by looking the other way when Southwest Airlines failed to inspect its planes. And a new report says the problem probably extends to other airlines as well. Nancy Cordes now on what the whistleblowers told Congress.
For years now, I've been raising the safety concerns, and I got nobody's attention.
A parade of current and former FAA inspectors described for Congress today how they were ignored, even punished for reporting safety lapses at Southwest Airlines.
Within 5 days, I was removed from my position as office manager.
Douglas Peters choked up as he described his FAA supervisor's ominous response when he voiced concerns about unethical inspectors.
You have a good job here, and your wife has a good job over at the Dallas FSDO. I'd hate to see you jeopardize yours and hers career trying to take down a couple of losers.
As it turned out, Southwest had been flying 47 Boeing 737s that were 2.5 years overdue for inspection.
I can assure you, Mr. Chairman, I consider what has happened here egregious.
He says the FAA manager who oversaw Southwest inspections has been transferred, though not removed.
Is he being paid?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you have to do to get fired there?
Critics say the incident is a sign that the agency has become too cozy with the airlines it regulates.
The system that is in place in which the FAA and the air carriers cooperate in oversight has obviously been a good one. But there has to be an edge to that relationship as well.
A federal investigation made public today alleges a pattern of excessive leniency at the FAA at the expense of effective oversight.
FAA needs to clean house from top to bottom, take corrective action, hire more inspectors, and give them a safety mission.
FAA officials admitted today that culture of ignoring safety concerns described by the whistleblowers could be widespread. This from an agency, Katie, whose primary purpose is to keep aviation safe.
All right, Nancy Cordes at Reagan National Airport tonight. Nancy, thanks. Turning now to the struggling economy, it's affecting the mood of the entire country. A CBS News New York Times poll out tonight finds more than 8 out of 10 Americans believe the country is heading in the wrong direction. Now, that's the worst number since we started asking the question 25 years ago. Most believe the economy's in bad shape. They say it's the #1 problem facing the country, and they say it's time for the government to do more to help struggling homeowners. Here's Chip Reed.
With an estimated 8,000 homes going into foreclosure every day, the new CBS News New York Times poll shows everyone's feeling the gloom. Only 21% of Americans say the economy is in good shape, the lowest number in 16 years. 70% say the economy's getting worse. 79% say they've had to make cutbacks in day-to-day spending. 28% say those cutbacks are severe. As for the flood of foreclosures, most Americans want the government to help homeowners, not banks. But critics say the compromise bill now before the Senate does just the opposite, giving banks and home builders hurt by the crisis a windfall of $25 billion in tax breaks while doing little for homeowners.
Basically, the banks and the builders, I don't think there's any two ways around it. They're the big winners in this story. For the homeowners that are struggling right now trying to meet their mortgage, it's very hard to see how this bill really gives you any help.
But Democratic Senator Chris Dodd, one of the authors of the bill, disagrees.
Obviously, there's some assistance here for builders who are going out of business. There's clearly some help there. But there's a lot more help for communities and homeowners and others that we've been waiting a long time for.
Dodd says this bill is just the first step, but a lot of states have been waiting, and they're tired of waiting for help from Washington. So today, the governor of Maryland signed a package of protections for homeowners, and other states from Florida to California are expected to follow. Katie?
Chip Reed on Capitol Hill tonight. In Campaign 08, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton released their March fundraising numbers today. Obama hauled in more than $40 million. That is double what Hillary Clinton's campaign raised. Jeff Greenfield is our senior political correspondent. And Jeff, in our new poll, there's some interesting numbers about who registered Democratic voters think will get the nomination. Let's take a look.
Right. Well, as you'll see, there's been a sharp increase in the percentage of Democrats who think that's going to be Obama. 69% now say he'll get the nomination, a jump of 14 points from just a couple of weeks ago. Now, this doesn't reflect the fact that in some polls in key states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, she's actually matched up against McCain better. And it doesn't, Katie, tell us what these Democrats want as their nominee. If you look at that number, it's a different picture. In that number, it's virtually statistically dead even. If we can see that, 46% favor Obama, 43 Clinton. Call it a tie. It reflects the split that's been going on for weeks.
And when people were asked which candidate most shares the values of Americans, those numbers were really revealing too.
I think they're the most interesting numbers in the whole poll. After all the weeks about Jeremiah Wright and his anti-American comments, when people are asked who shares your values most, Obama comes with 70%. That's more than McCain and more than Clinton. And remember, Republicans have gone to school the last two elections saying, okay, voters may agree with the Democrats more on policy, but they like our candidates better. They feel they share their values. That number Republicans have to drive down if they want to beat Barack Obama in November, should he be the nominee.
All right, Jeff Greenfield. Jeff, thank you. And former president and current superdelegate Jimmy Carter dropped a strong hint today that he will support Barack Obama. While traveling in Nigeria, he told reporters his state, hometown, and family all support Obama, then added he'd leave it to the reporters to guess which Democrat he is backing. Turning now to a very disturbing story. A new report says over 900,000 children are abused or neglected annually. And for the first time, we're learning just how often it happens to the tiniest victims, infants, some of them only days old. Sandra Hughes has the story.
When Adam Carbajal was just a year old, he was shaken violently and thrown against a wall by his mom's boyfriend. Today, the 4-year-old cannot walk or talk.
Every day is a struggle for him, from the minute he wakes up to the minute we put him to bed.
Trying to prevent horrific cases like Adam's is at the heart of the first ever nationwide study of infant neglect and abuse. According to the study by the Centers for Disease Control, 1 in 50 infants is a victim of abuse or neglect. In total, more than 91,000 infants 1 year or younger. And perhaps most distressing, almost a third of the cases happened when the child was 1 week old or younger. Most infants did not suffer physical abuse, according to the study, but instead were victims of neglect.
It includes things like inadequate housing and shelter, inadequate nutrition, food, clothing.
But there is something hopeful in this study. The early discovery of neglect can lead to more in-home visits by authorities and the implementation of programs to help educate parents.
Early intervention and early prevention efforts really are a vaccine for children so that they can grow up in safe environments.
It's too late for Adam Carvajal's family. Still, they testified before the California legislature, pushing for a law stiffening sentences for those found guilty of causing permanent physical damage to a child.
People that do this shouldn't be out in 5 years living their life and being happy when the kids suffer for eternity.
A trend so troubling, experts are now working to find out what can be done to stop it. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Overseas, President Bush got what he wanted today at the NATO summit in Romania. NATO leaders promised to send more troops to help fight the war in Afghanistan, and they endorsed a U.S. missile defense system based in Europe, something that Russia views as a real security threat. There is much more CBS News ahead. Up next, how good is your credit? An unprecedented look inside the system that decides whether you get that loan or not. Well, no doubt about it, we are a nation of borrowers. Last year, Americans owed credit card companies $850 billion. And the average household pays about $1,600 a year in interest on that debt. When you apply for a credit card or a loan or a mortgage, who decides whether you get it? Tonight, Anthony Mason gives you an unprecedented look inside the system that rates your credit worthiness as he continues our series, Life and Debt in America.
7, so she's going to take 7.5.
Like most Americans, Louis Hobgood and his wife, Dina Skinner, can't live without their credit cards.
I'll stick your receipt inside of the shoebox.
I use credit probably every day.
It's just becoming such a way of life, you know.
And as we all try to keep track of our spending,
this is 30 days past this Rashid's tuition.
The debt industry is keeping track of us.
This is the space that houses all of the data that we process.
This corridor in a Minneapolis office building
We're headed into the data center.
Leads to the heart of the most sophisticated credit system in the world. A heavily guarded web of wires where your FICO score is calculated. Named for the Fair Isaac Corporation which created it, the 3-digit number is used by banks, credit card companies, and mortgage lenders to determine whether you get a loan and what interest rate you'll pay.
So what sort of information, about me would be in here? I mean, transactions I've made, loans I've got, whether I'm on time, that sort of thing?
Absolutely.
Drawing data from the 3 major credit bureaus, this system processes literally billions of bits of your financial information, like how much you owe, what you earn, and whether you're maxed out on your credit cards.
So if you're a lender today, you can get instantaneous information about the credit worthiness or the viability of a consumer's ability to pay back a loan.
Most of us use the bank.
The speed of that technology has eliminated your local bank officer.
You have a good reputation. We know you're reliable.
And allowed the credit markets to explode.
And when we saw that starting to happen, we said, oh, this is bigger than we ever imagined.
Mathematician Larry Rosenberger, using analysis that showed human behavior tends to be consistent over time, helped develop the FICO scores back in 1989.
They're not perfect, but they work with a level of precision that can't be gotten any other way.
The major credit card companies use the scores to judge hundreds of millions of customers.
It's a very controversial topic.
To decide whether to raise your interest rate or even close your account.
Most large credit card issuers will grade their customers once a month. The majority of the time, the consumer has absolutely no clue that it's being done.
But you can find out your score just by going to myfico.com. It'll range between 300 and 850, with anything over 750 considered healthy.
What you calculate here has a lot of impact on people's lives.
Yeah, it does, on their financial lives at least.
And it's made debt a booming business. Anthony Mason, CBS News, Minneapolis.
And from high-tech tracking to very low-tech counting, the Commerce Department said today census workers will have to use pencils and paper to count Americans in 2010. It turns out new handheld computers flunked the test. Too many software problems and too hard to use. When we come back, thousands of women undergo this painful surgery every year, even though there's an easier way. In collaboration with Business Week magazine, CBS News has been investigating advances in surgery. One involves an operation that a third of women have by the time they're 60. It can lead to weeks of painful recovery, but it turns out that kind of discomfort and recuperation time can be significantly reduced. As Dr. John LaPook reports in tonight's Eye on Your Health.
We're going to look at her anatomy first.
Dr. Lori Warren is a surgeon who has a startling diagnosis for women.
I am on a mission.
She thinks hundreds of thousands of them are getting the wrong operation every year.
I'm outraged that doctors are still, in my mind, doing these archaic surgeries on people or opening them up unnecessarily. We're just going to right now just kind of look around.
The surgery she's upset about may be archaic, but it's very common. Hysterectomy is the surgical removal of the uterus. About 600,000 are done every year in this country. Most are recommended because of pain and bleeding from fibroids.
If patients really know that they have options when it comes to hysterectomy, that we'll start seeing some of the changes that I feel need to happen.
What's happening now is that the vast majority are done the old-fashioned way, with a large surgical incision and a 6 to 8 week recovery.
I just think that we need to open less people up.
Dr. Warren is one of relatively few surgeons who perform hysterectomy with a minimally invasive laparoscopic technique. Like all laparoscopic procedures, a camera is inserted through a tiny incision to see into the abdomen. 2 other small incisions are made so that tools can be inserted to perform the surgery.
Can dissect here like that.
It's all over in about an hour, and patients are usually home within a day and back to normal within a week or 2.
Does it still amaze you after all these years?
Oh yeah, I'm amazed by what we can do, and what's most amazing to me is how well the patient does.
Becky Rupert just had a hysterectomy, literally. Now, she wants to go home.
So about 5 hours ago you had your uterus out, and how do you feel now?
I feel great. Yeah.
And the amount of pain?
I have no pain, literally no pain.
I'm really thinking about this all the time.
What frustrates Dr. Warren is that only about 15% of hysterectomies are done this way.
You would think in today's age and the way that we've improved in so many other areas in medicine that women would begin questioning this, but we're finding that they're not.
So that's exactly where you want to be.
About 90% of all gallbladder surgeries are done laparoscopically, so why not hysterectomy?
Women are not seeking second opinions. They're going to the gynecologists that deliver their babies. They have that trust in them.
It makes my blood boil. It does. And that's what fires my passion to get the word out. So I never put a trocar in blind.
And to get the word out, she invites doctors to come to Baptist Hospital East in Louisville and learn the procedure.
What would you want for your wife, or your mom, or your sister, or your best friend? You would want them to have the least invasive procedure possible.
This surgery is not only easier on patients, it saves the healthcare system money too. Katie?
Is that because patients have to spend less time in the hospital? I can't believe that one patient said,
Isn't that amazing?
I have no pain, right?
Right.
And they get back to work sooner as well. So if this is so great, John, why are so many doctors still doing it the old-fashioned way?
Katie, I think one big reason is inertia. I remember about 15 years ago when gallbladders first started being removed this new way. It didn't catch on right away. What ultimately drove it to become the standard of care that it is now is patients coming in saying, I hear there's a new way of doing this operation where I could be back to work in a day or 2. Ultimately, I think that's what's going to have to happen with hysterectomy.
So hopefully more women will demand this of their doctor.
Absolutely.
All right. John LaPook. John, thanks so much. By the way, if you'd like more about this, you can ask Dr. LaPook. You can go to cbsnews.com and click on CBS Evening News. Send him your questions on non-invasive surgery, and you'll find his answers tomorrow online. Coming up next, the most popular sport in an economic slowdown, hunting for a bargain. We all know the economy is slowing and times are tough, but you know what they say, when the going gets tough, the tough go shopping. Only thing is, the rules have changed, and as Kelly Wallace reports, these days, cheap is the new black.
I spent $40,000 on shoes and I have no place to live?
Spending like that is as tired as a cable rerun. These women in Chicago are saving in the city.
We want to look that way, we just don't want to pay to look that way.
It's not just coffee talk for 28-year-old Nicole Mladic. She writes a blog called The Budgeting Babe.
It's dedicated to all the young working women who want to shop like Carrie in a Jimmy Choo store but have a budget closer to Roseanne.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Remember him?
Simple and plain.
The big spending of the 80s and 90s has given way to a new cultural mindset, according to forecaster Faith Popcorn.
Is conspicuous consumption out?
Consumption is out.
Popcorn calls it a mega trend, a toned-down approach to everything from the clothes you wear to the car you drive, and Madison Avenue is listening.
Some say what you spend your money on says a lot about you. At Saturn, we feel what you save your money on actually says a lot more.
We're selling to people's sense of values. We're selling to people who want to associate themselves with brands that share their values.
The new frugal trend is about more than saving money.
It's the squeeze. So it's the squeeze in the environment, squeeze in the economy, squeeze on the ethics.
The retail numbers may be the clearest evidence. While sales for high-end stores are down from last year, sales for Walmart and Target are up.
There was a time when everyone was using the word Target. Yes. And it was kind of a clever way to disguise that you actually got it at Target, and now no one cares.
even carry. Sarah Jessica Parker now has a clothing line at discount retailer Steve & Barry's.
I don't think that people are going to say, but I want to spend a lot of money.
The new status?
Cheers!
Not how much you spend, but how much you don't. Kelly Wallace, CBS News, Chicago.
And that is the CBS Evening News for tonight. I'm Katie Couric. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.